Hello, Scorpio. Welcome to Dove and Serpent Tarot. My name is Paul. If Scorpio is your sun, moon, or rising sign, this is your reading. Please hit the like button, leave a comment. Consider subscribing to the channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. It's totally free. It doesn't cost you anything. All right. If there's anything you would like me to pray over or meditate upon or send positive energy toward, please let me know. Now, this is going to be a general reading, so try to be open and receptive to whatever may come through during our time together. I am merely the messenger. And I ask you to connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond the details that I might provide. And remember, Scorpio, that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. And a 5 of Wands to begin. Well, that's very energetic. Let's put it that way. Let's see where some of this fire energy is going. What is it that I feel an intensity here. I feel as if maybe you're even trying to hold yourself back from something. Now we've got the Hierophant there. Interesting. A 9 of Cups. The Hanged Man. Okay. Ace of Wands. 4 of Wands. A good cluster of fire energy here. Oh, we've got the Magician, Magus, Mercury, the 6 of Swords, 3 of Cups, and more fire energy now with the Prince of Wands. All right, yeah, interesting. Let's select the mystery card, bonus card, confirmation card. This is one random card from the Smith-Waite Tarot. We're just going to put it down over here. We're going to put Tiny Bob Ross right there on top. Happy little Bob. And, you know, we're not going to look at that card until the end, but it will tie everything together. You know, it's going to give us the confirmation that we need. If at any point during the reading you feel like you know what that card is, I want you to put your prediction down in the comments. All right. Let's do it together. Let's make it a group exercise in intuition. All right. I think it'll be fun. All right, let's look around the room again here because we've got 3 major arcana. 3 major arcana cards. And it's interesting what we have here too because we've got the Hierophant and the Magician. Now, the Hierophant, to me, it feels that it's almost as if you are surpassing your teacher. Right? You are becoming the master. You're transcending the kind of limit of knowledge or wisdom that you can gain from this situation, and you are kind of breaking through into your own. You're finding your own voice. You're becoming the master here, right? So I feel like there is this resistance against this Hierophant, and the Hierophant kind of seems like a limitation in a way. Right? And it's almost as if you're kind of done with this phase of learning in your life. Yeah. So we've got the fire energy. We've got, well, we end with fire too. We've got water here. We've got air here. And we don't have any earth. The earth is pretty much all contained in this Hierophant card, which is the Taurus energy. This is some very fixed earth energy. So it seems to me like this is what we're trying to break free from, is the limitations of this earth energy. So let's take the 5 of Wands and let's find out where we're kind of pushing back. Right? I feel like we're up against something that's starting to feel, kind of reminds me of like Star Wars, where they're in the trash compactor, you know, and they're pushing against the walls, but it just keeps, pushing against it's not going to work. They need to find some other kind of strategy rather than just brute force. They're not going to be able to push the trash compactor back open again. They've got to, communicate with the robot, who is obviously C-3PO is the kind of, the logic machine, the AI, which in some ways refers back over here. So I wonder if this is a situation where just pushing back with this kind of force, this resistance, is not the right kind of method. Maybe we need a deeper strategy, right? Maybe we need something more, perhaps something more logical. It doesn't have to be physical resistance, physical force pushing back, right? And that's what this card's kind of about. It's kind of learning the right degree of force, because this is Saturn in Leo. Okay, the Five of Wands. This is strife. This is fighting. This is, battling with something. Okay. And since we've got the Hierophant, I kind of wonder if this is like a sparring partner. If this is, a situation that's kind of designed to challenge you. If this is a mentorship, if this is a school thing, if this is a work thing, maybe it's some kind of martial art or sport that you're in. So there's a competition here. It could be a work thing too. These are life readings, right? I'm not going to say this is career. I'm not going to say this is romance. It could be all of it, right? There's this idea that the competition started out very friendly. It started out with a purpose. It's the necessary competition. But I almost wonder if it's gone past the point of friendly competition, or if you're kind of, if you're wondering when this phase of your training will be over, right? So that you can move on and kind of level up. You can move on to the next grade, get the next belt, that sort of thing. And maybe it's a work thing. Maybe it's getting, a promotion, or completing a project, or completing a phase of your training, right? We see that with the other fire energy here, it does feel like there is a completion of sorts happening, especially with the Four of Wands here. I feel as if you're wondering when the bell is going to ring, or when the semester will be over, or when you can finally move on to a different class, because I feel like this one, you're starting to really push back against this. And I feel with the Hanged Man here, it seems like maybe this situation is cutting you off from something. It could be that that intense training that it's just been going on so long that we're starting to feel kind of disconnected from the real spiritual purpose of things. I feel like you've been in this situation a while, and it's almost now where it's kind of like we've been here so long we forgot where we were going, or where we came from, or who we are, So the Hanged Man is kind of this idea to me of being cut off from the real purpose, the real I know this card's all water, but in some ways I almost feel like we're cut off from the water. That we're just kind of suspended over it. Almost like, when we look at the Nine of Cups down here beneath everything, almost like we're suspended above the Nine of Cups, not allowed to enjoy this, not allowed to yet immerse ourselves in this. It's like we still have something to prove. Okay. Very, very interesting, because I feel like this is kind of, it almost feels unfair, right? It almost feels like you've been misled. Maybe that's part of this Mercury energy too, is that this situation has been happening for a minute, And the Hierophant, like I was saying, the Hierophant is that fixed earth energy. And it's kind of like, this is what this person's job is, Their job is to test you, to train you, to impart their wisdom to you. And it's up to you to take that next step to transcend them, when the apprentice becomes the master kind of thing. And I feel like that's where you're headed, with this fire energy here. We don't want to get stuck in this situation. But I think that it's getting more difficult for you to go through the motions of this thing, to stay in the routine of it without getting I feel like almost a rage kind of happening. There's like a fury that's building in you. And I think this is why we need to come up with a different idea. How do we then get out of this situation? How do we transcend this? And how do we complete this phase of our training, this phase of our development? Maybe this is a spiritual thing, right? Maybe this is something limiting, at work. I almost feel like that Hierophant, and again, it could be a Taurus person, I almost feel like they're a bit of a gatekeeper here. That they want to have all of the wisdom, and they want to contain you within their structure. And it's up to you to transcend that. It's up to you to kind of break free from that. But just kind of pushing back with this anger almost is not really, it's not doing anything. It's kind of like that just makes the Hierophant stronger, You can't push the bull over, right? You're not going to win in a game of tug of war. We've got to be a little more strategic, because we're ultimately trying to get this 9 of Cups. We want to immerse ourselves in it. And I think that this, if it's a career thing, a spiritual thing, if it's something to do with sports or martial arts or some kind of training that you're in, we really want to immerse ourselves in it and get through this almost probationary period, almost this testing period. Because underneath it all, 9 of Cups, physical satisfaction and abundance, mental, emotional, spiritual, creative, psychic. This is something that encompasses your whole life. It's a life reading, right? So this is going to, getting through this phase is going to enrich your life in more ways than just the obvious, right? If this is a work thing, it's going to have implications in your personal life. If this is a personal thing, it's going to affect your work life and your spiritual life, and everything's connected, right? And this is the card of happiness. And again, with the Hanged Man, it feels like you're kind of suspended over that happiness, that you're being told by this Hierophant, you're being told, no, not yet. You haven't, this idea that you haven't earned it yet, or something like that. Right. And it's interesting that we have the Ace up here, and we have either the 4 or the 5. Okay. We add the Ace to either one. We add the Ace to the 5, and we get a 6. We get victory. Yeah, you probably could, if you really tried, you probably could overpower this situation. And then if we bring the Ace to the 4, then obviously we get the 5. It almost is a repeating cycle. If we keep struggling, it's like one of those, one of those finger traps, or the more you struggle, the tighter it gets, So I think we need to move out of this fire energy and come up with a different kind of strategy in order to put the finishing touches on this thing and like get on to the next level. Yeah. The more we get upset by it, the more we struggle against it, the tighter it becomes, and then the more frustrated we get, So it seems like we're exhausting ourselves fighting in this way, right? So we're going to switch over to the path of the Serpent. And as we do this, I'd like to ask for your subscription. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. It's totally free. It doesn't cost you anything. And leave some comments for me. I really do enjoy reading your comments, hearing about where all of you are from. If you just want to check in the comments, I love all of that. I do read every comment. Okay. We've got this Mercury energy, the Magician card. The Magician, in a lot of ways, represents a deeper strategy here. I feel like we've got to make this situation work for us. Fighting against it, again, is making it tighter, making it squeeze tighter around us. If we could find a way to make it work for us, I think we would really get to the 6 that we want. Now, we want a 6 in this fire energy too, and I think this is really the 6 of Wands would become that victory that really teaches us a lot. And then it's kind of like then this Hierophant will kind of laugh and be like, now you finally get it. that we have to struggle against this. And, it has to be a difficult situation so that when you do succeed, you will have come to a very deep and significant realization about yourself. Okay. So, the Magician here. I do feel like this is something to do with learning, maybe school or university, or some kind of training or something like that. I almost wonder if you work in some kind of a teaching establishment, right? Or if you're, if this is the professor and you're kind of like, I don't know, what do they call it, undergrad or postgrad, or I don't know. I never got that far in school. But I feel that there is this kind of student-teacher relationship. And with this Magician card, I really get the feeling that you're highly intelligent. You probably speak more than one language. And I think it is time to fall back on that intelligence, on that ability to figure out intricate problems. Like, look, maybe this is one of those rare occasions where I'll say, hey, we've got to look at this like a math problem. Usually I say, let's not try to do the math on this. Let's feel it out, But in this case, I think the feeling is all of this fire stuff. I think this is one of those occasions where we need to kind of sort it out with logic, look at it like a math problem that needs a solution. Yeah. And that's what we see with the Six of Swords coming up next, too, is that we're finding this kind of harmony and this kind of peace, this kind of resonance, not through the brute force of the fire. See, we could kind of fight our way through this and feel like we've won. But in the long term, I don't think it would still be a win, right? I mean, we could fight with something and we can smash it and we can say, yes, I'm the victor. But then it's like, oh, I just smashed it, So the win doesn't really help us very much. But with the Mercury energy and the Six of Swords, this is a victory that now is one that works. This is kind of like it's like one of those, it's like a Zen master, like trying to teach you this lesson, and we're getting more and more frustrated by it, and we just want to smash the whole thing and say, I've won it. But we need to find the strategy to get through this, The Magician is an interesting card because it's very complex, this card. I feel like you assume they lied to you about this, or that you've been tricked, or that somehow you were conned into this thing and now you're kind of stuck in this and you've got to battle your way out. And maybe you are, right? Maybe you were kind of lured into this, tricked into this. Now, I don't know, this could be a religious or spiritual teacher. You could be in a mystical or magical order. This could be, it could be a work thing. It could be, I don't know, anything. But I feel like you were kind of, you were lured into this, almost duped into it. But I feel like there is a deep purpose in that, and it's one, yes, there's a lot of fire energy here. Nobody likes that feeling. I don't think it's a very honest way of initiating someone or teaching someone or being that kind of a mentor to someone. But nevertheless, you're here, and we've got to figure out the way to get through this very solid earth energy, And I think it's really falling back on the logic and the strategy, but not the swords energy, right? We don't see a lot of swords here. We see the subtlety and the wisdom of Mercury, right? I think that this is finding the things that are out of the ordinary, This is, you know what this reminds me of? Now I've got it. It reminds me of one of those escape rooms. My wife and I did an escape room a few months ago, and by the end of the thing, you kind of just want to smash through the wall and be like, I did it. I won. I got out of the room. But that doesn't work. That's a victory, sure. That's maybe a 6 of Wands victory, but it doesn't really, you didn't solve it, you know. Using your typical methods of deduction and logic and reasoning and trying to make sense of things, that doesn't really help either. There's this kind of a cleverness almost that I certainly didn't have on that day. But a certain sort of cleverness and ingenuity and a more like subtle genius that's required to get these kinds of problems solved, right? Maybe you were at an escape room recently, and that's what this is all about for you. But I feel as if it's kind of like that. You know, it's one of these weird mazes, one of these weird, three-dimensional puzzles that you've got to try to solve, but we don't just want to smash the Rubik's Cube and then put it back together in the right way and say, okay, see, I did it. You know, that might feel good for a second or two, but we didn't actually solve it, right? This is the solution of it. This is the 6 of Swords. This is science. This is harmony. This is now the mysterious and the unknown now makes sense to you, right? It's not a science that you're going and learning. It is a magic. It is a mysticism, a mystery. It is something transcendent that now you're experiencing, and you're able to kind of to work it, right? To make it work for you. I imagine for those of you that can do a Rubik's Cube, this is kind of the zone that you get into, right? You're not sitting there necessarily calculating every turn and every move. It's something that happens kind of almost automatically, right? Auto-magically. And it happens to work out. You're tapping into a more like a more fundamental like substratum of wisdom and perception, you know, which I think is very much this magician energy, right? And I mean, with obvious connotations of a magician, you know, able to perform these feats, and the magician knows how they do it, and there was probably a lot of practice and a lot of planning that went into the performance of the magician, but the rest of us don't know how it's done. You know, the rest of us might try to figure it out, and once we do, maybe it loses a little bit of its magic, right? Because science, really, it's nothing but magic that we now understand. So it loses that kind of, that allure. It loses that mystery. It loses that kind of otherworldly attraction now that it makes sense. You know? So in some ways we are, by figuring this out, we are losing something here. And I wonder if that is a little bit of this Hanged Man as well, right? This idea that we are, by moving into this magician Mercury energy, we're kind of losing some of this magic and mysticism, this otherworldly allure of life. Yeah. Because the Hanged Man sometimes can be cut off from the spiritual world. Right. And so I wonder if that's part of it. I wonder if this is kind of a deeper thing for you of having to kind of sacrifice that kind of an experience in order to move forward in life. You know, it's a big step to kind of leave something like that behind. I don't like that idea any more than you do. I don't want to lose the mystery and the otherworldly allure of life just to understand how to make progress and move forward. You know, there has to be a way to kind of combine both of them. Maybe that's what the 6 of Swords is all about, because sometimes this is heart and mind conjoined, right? Yeah, it is science, but maybe it's science that can still have the magic. Yeah. It can be spiritual, and it can be ordinary at the same time. And in some ways, I think that's also very magician. Very much finding the magic in the ordinary. Finding the divine in everything. Yeah. Next card is the Three of Cups. Now, the Three of Cups is Mercury as well. It's Mercury in Cancer. And maybe this is finding the divine in everything. Maybe this is the transcendence of, what kind of ordinary science would be. Because this is Mercury as well, right? This is Mercury in Aquarius, and we have Mercury in Cancer. So it's kind of bringing like this deeper understanding into this more spiritual, intuitive, emotional realm. And I think that's really what we're looking for here, is a way to not lose that kind of I almost wonder if this is going to be the Fool card in the mystery card here. Because I feel like switching from Hierophant to Magician. Well, I mean, in some way we could look at it both ways, and this connects it really, I think, in a nice way. Because if we're looking at the Hierophant is kind of the very practical. It's, there's no magic here. And then we go to the Magician. Now we have the magic, right? So we're kind of going from the ordinary to the extraordinary. But in some ways, we're doing the reverse, because it's the experience of this larger than life, magic and mystery that we, are being informed by. The whole idea of a Hierophant, right? The one that is initiating us, that is imparting this magical wisdom to us. That's a very kind of awe-inspiring thing. And then getting over here to the Magician. Well, if you become the Magician, it's not that magic anymore, because you know all the tricks now. You've learned. The Hierophant has taught you all of the secrets of being the magic maker, And so you don't get the same experience as the audience, right? Or as you did as when you were still kind of the apprentice, So it's almost like this whole thing is you're learning how the sausage is made, And I think in some ways we don't want to know. Yeah. Not literal sausage. It's a saying, I think. I've heard it before. So Three of Cups is what we want. We want to keep the magic alive. We want to keep the mystery. We want to keep that, but also we want to be the master, right? We want to grow in our spiritual evolution, in our knowledge, in our wisdom. This could apply to really any situation at all. You're getting a peek really behind the curtain. You're becoming the person behind the curtain. Are you going to let that take away the experience, take away the magic of the thing? Because this Hanged Man too, like I said, it feels like there's the potential here of really being cut off from the spiritual realm, being cut off from the magic, being cut off from the immersion, the love, the complete saturation with this, love energy. We don't want to lose that, right? So how do we keep all of this together? Well, the final card does not give us any answers. This is the Prince of Wands, and this is a card that just says we're taking action, we're doing something. Okay, let's find out what we're doing. Let's look at the mystery card. Okay, this is the Prince of Wands is making a decision and committing to it. Maybe the mystery card can help us out here. Let's see. Maybe some earth energy. We don't have a lot of it. I don't know that we really need it or want it. Maybe we'll get something like the High Priestess. I'm going to just say that it'll be. I want another Nine of Cups. Because I think a Nine of Cups is fulfilling on every level. We're keeping the magic and the mystery and the otherworldly allure of the thing. But we also then have the emotional and the intellectual satisfaction and the physical satisfaction, right? We're doing the work. It's working for us. So it would be really, really inclusive. A 9 or a 10 of discs, I think, would work as well. Well, let's see. Well, we've got a Queen of Pentacles. The Queen of Pentacles is nice. We do have that earth energy. And it's the earth energy with the water in it, right? This is the water energy being expressed through the earth. So now we're hanging on to this water. And we're now nourishing our life with it. So I think the Queen of Pentacles is really immersed in the situation. You see this figure is sitting there amidst all of this abundance, right? You got your pets, your plants, your people are around here somewhere. And there is this appreciation of things. She's holding that Ace of Pentacles, you know. And in some ways, the Ace of Pentacles is us longing for something that we don't have now, right? It's longing for something that we had in the past, but now things are different, and we kind of wish that we could go back. You know, we might be doing basically the same thing now, but for some reason, it doesn't have that magic anymore, right? So this card really shows us the two sides of things. What we really want is to be able to look at that ace and think, you know, this is the magic. This is what I wanted. You know, it's an appreciation of the past, but it's also now a looking toward the future. It's this person still got it. You know, this person hasn't lost the love, hasn't lost the aspiration, the inspiration. Yeah. Hasn't lost the magic. And is, I think, very much ready to take the next step into the future. It looks like this person is just about to get up and take that Ace of Pentacles somewhere. You know, is just pausing for a moment to appreciate now, to really take it all in. This whole experience with all this fire, this kind of locked up, you know, Hierophant energy. To really take a moment when all this is done, to take a moment to really assimilate all of this experience. What happened? And you'll start to understand what it was all for, the deeper meaning of it, right? And so even though it's a very kind of, I think, aggravating situation, you're going to see the purpose in it, but not till you get to the other side, you know. We're going to do an extended reading as well. If you want to stick around, click on the link up in the corner. That'll give you access to all of the extended readings, okay? Not just for Scorpio, but for every sign. You can cross-watch. Maybe take a look at the Taurus reading. I'm here every day from 6 to 8 a.m. Chicago time. All right? Come back and join me again tomorrow. Yeah. Readings specifically for Scorpio are every Wednesday and every Sunday, but you can come every day, right? There's plenty of room. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. It's totally free, doesn't cost you anything, and leave a comment for me. I really do love hearing from all of you. If you have a website or a small business or a musical, arts, anything that you want to promote, head over to the Dove and Serpent Tarot YouTube channel page. It's a long one. In the community section, there's a post there. It's the first one. And that's a space for everyone to promote their business, their art, their YouTube channel, their book, their whatever it is. All right? Just plug away in that community post. All right? Let's support each other, you know. I want you to know that you're the most important part of Dove and Serpent Tarot. I thank you and I love you, and we're all in this together.